G'day guys. Stock EmuElec on the Gaminja ANS11 leaves a lot to be desired. There's no DOS box, no options menu, and no port master. So today I thought we would try and get Arkos working on it. I'll be using a 64GB Samsung Evo microSD card. Let's get into it. We're over on our Windows 11 PC now, and since our Gaminja ANS11 is technically an R36S clone, we'll have to use one of the Arkos4Clones variants. I initially tried the older Arkos K36S build, and although it did work out of the box, using the default panel, didn't have to change anything, the right joystick was inverted. Since it did work out of the box though, it means it does use K36 Panel 1. So with that information, I went over to the much newer Arkos4Clones project, since that does support K36 Panel 1 devices. Since my Gaminja ANS11 does boot internally, there was no easy way to get the DTB file off. So my initial plan was just to try each K36 DTB. Luckily, as mentioned, it did work first try out of the box. So we'll be using Arkos4Clone today. On the right hand side, we want to click on the latest version under releases. For me, 2025-0929. We want to scroll down a little bit. There is a OneDrive mirror, which is a lot faster than direct from GitHub. But if that doesn't work for you, you can scroll down a little bit further and just download these three parts here. Part 001, 002, and 003. If you're downloading these three parts direct from GitHub, and they do keep failing, then I'd recommend using a download manager that supports resuming. For Windows, I always prefer AB Download Manager, since it is free and open source, and there is a portable version. With the latest version of Arkos4Clones downloaded, we'll also need something that can write it to our SD card. I always like to use Rufus. Just gone to rufus.ie, go to download, and I always like to download the portable version. At the time of filming, 411p. You'll also need something to download the actual Arkos image from the compressed file that we downloaded. I always like to use 7-zip, so download and install that if you don't already have it. I'll also be downloading the system information script for Arkos, which is just a handy little tool that shows us a little bit about these system specs. I have made a video on this in the past, but basically you just want to download this sh file, infosystem.sh, and copy it over to the tools folder in your EasyROMs partition once everything's been set up. Once everything's finished downloading, we can close off Chrome and open up our downloads folder. So I ended up downloading the three parts from GitHub, part 001, 002, and 003. So just want to right click on part 001. If you're on Windows 11, click on show more options, select 7-zip, and go to extract to. It should automatically merge all three files into one and give you a single compressed image file. Once it's finished extracting, we want to open up the folder. Inside's another compressed file. We want to extract that as well. Again, show more options if you're on Windows 11, 7-zip, and extract here. Although Rufus does support this compressed archive, I always recommend manually extracting it before writing it just to avoid any other issues. Once it's finished extracting, we want to put our fresh SD card into our PC. Don't reuse the stock SD card since it is incredibly low quality and it will fail. With the SD card inserted, we'll go back to our downloads folder and just run Rufus. At the very top, under device, make sure your SD card is selected. So for me it is 64GB, it's the only one that shows up, nice and easy. Leave boot selection as disk or ISO image, and on the right hand side, click select. Want to navigate to where we extracted our Arkos image. So for me it was in this folder, and there it is there. Arkos4Clone 0929.img. Double click on it, and that's pretty much it. We want to triple check we have the correct SD card selected on a device, since we will lose all data on that device. So once again, mine is the correct SD card, 64GB. Just click start. It warns you, you'll lose everything, click OK. And if you have multiple partitions on there, it'll also mention that, just click OK. Once it's finished writing, we can close off Rufus. And we want to go to our new boot partition on the SD card. So for me, it was D drive. Now in here, we have to select the correct DTB for our handheld. We want to run DTB selector. Just press enter. Now ours is technically a clone R36S, so we want to press 4 and enter. And mine specifically is K36 Panel 1. I'm not too sure if all Gaminja ANS11s use Panel 1, so if there's nothing on the screen for you, try one of the different panels, and if that still doesn't work, you may have to go back and use the older Arkos K36S build that we showed at the start of the video. So we want to press 3 for K36 Panel 1, press enter, and it should do its thing. We want English, so 1, and press enter, and that's it. We can safely eject our SD card and put it back into our handheld. So we're back on our handheld. It's going to insert the fresh SD card in the right-hand side slot. For some reason, it's labeled as TF2 on this specific device, but usually it is TF1 on clones. And we have to remove the ROMs card from slot 1, or the left-hand side slot. So with no SD in the left slot and a new SD in the right slot, we just want to power it on. We've got a boot logo, that's good so far. It says Arkos, that's good. And it looks like it is resizing our EasyROMs partition. It's rebooted itself, that's fine. And it looks like it is just going through the initial setup. We won't touch anything, and we'll let it finish, and we'll come back once we're on the Arkos home screen. It does seem to take around 4 minutes on this handheld. It's finally finished its initial setup, and we are on the Arkos home screen. We got our options menu back, which is good. Now for me, out of the box, there's no sound. Super easy to fix. We just want to go to options, go down to clone. We want to go down to toggle audio. And that should be it. We should now have working sound. If I turn the volume all the way up and I press up or down, it is clicking. So sound now works. We'll go back to the main menu. We'll power off the handheld, put our SD card back into our PC and copy some games over. I always like to shut down by pressing start on the main menu, going down to quit and shut down system. So we're back on our Windows 11 PC and I put the SD card in, but unfortunately EasyROMs hasn't appeared. Looks like we will have to manually assign a drive letter. We want to right click on the start menu, go to disk management. We'll go full screen. We want to find our SD card. It's the one that has both a boot partition and an EasyROMs partition. So for me, it's disk 1, this one here. I'm going to right click on EasyROMs, change drive letter and paths, click add, click OK, and then we can close this off. So now our EasyROMs partition has appeared. We'll open it up just to take a look. And here's all of our system folders. So copying games over is super simple. You just want to copy all of your games into the correct system folder. So for example, for Atari 2600 games, copy all the games into the Atari 2600 folder. You'd do the same for MS-DOS games, Dreamcast, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, etc. We did download the system information script earlier, so we'll go to downloads. There it is there, infosystem.sh, we'll copy that. Go back to our EasyROMs partition, go down to the tools folder, there it is, and we'll just paste it in here. I'll copy a bunch of games off camera and we'll come back. So I've finished copying a few test games over, including some ports. But I think first we'll try and run the system information script. Let's go to options, go down to tools, and it's called info system. So it didn't detect our panel. I'm not too surprised since this is the new Arkos4Clones project, and the DTB files are still fairly new. Under memory, you can see we only have 400 meg total instead of the usual 1 gig. That is really low. I'm surprised how well all these systems actually work that we tried in the last video. They all seem to have run pretty much the same as a non-clone with a full 1 gig of RAM, so that is interesting. It obviously detects our SD card in slot 1, nothing in slot 2, and there's the ArkOS build. I mainly ran this just to see the RAM, and that is really interesting, I'm glad I did. We'll click OK to close out of it. So we'll try some of the higher end systems. We'll start with NDS. We got Mario Kart DS, something nice and easy. So we do have sound, which is good. And thankfully L2 and R2 do toggle the screen types. On stockOS, only R2 actually did anything, and we had to press R3 in to actually toggle between split and full. So it's good that it's back to how it should be. We go single player. I do want to see if the touchscreen works, so we'll go full screen. Bottom one, I'm using R3 to move the stylus, and clicking it in should act as a touch, and it does. So it works as it should. So we did get the glitching on stockOS as well, but it should come good once we're in the game. And yeah, it looks fine. Yeah, it looks like Mario Kart DS plays perfectly fine. Exactly the same as it did on stock EmuLec. No surprises here. We'll see if we can open up the drastic menu. So I'll pause it. L3. And yep, L3 still brings it up. Go down to exit. We'll try PSP, which is one of the more demanding systems. And we've got Mega Man Maverick Hunter X, which is the same one we tried on stock EmuLec. So we're in the actual game now, and we do still have the occasional lag spike, but we do have that on pretty much every handle that we've tried this game on. Just seems to be how well the game actually runs on this chipset. So you can see here, a little bit laggy, but nothing out of the ordinary. Actually, it does seem to be lagging a little bit more. Every time I fire the Buster, you can hear it, yeah, it says right there, sound is choppy. So it actually looks like PSP is slightly worse on this new ArkOS build. That could be because of the settings. This was obviously stock settings, and EmuLec might have already been tweaked. We'll press L3 to bring up the PPSSP menu, hopefully. Looks like it has frozen it. We'll give it a second. And it did actually crash. We'll go back into it once more, and we'll press L3 again, hopefully bring up the PPSSP menu. So that's trying to save state. Okay, that's not the menu. R3? R3 is the menu, right, I was pressing the wrong button. Go to settings, go down to frame skipping, and I might change it to 1. See if that helps any. Or actually we'll toggle auto frame skip. We'll see if we can quit out of the PPSSP menu by pressing R3 again. And it takes us back to the start. We'll just go continue and we'll see if it's any better. So we're finally back in the game. See if it's any better. Still got the lag spike. It does seem to be running much faster. We are still getting the occasional lag spikes though, but again, that's standard. Same lag spike there. Yeah, so the horrible lag is gone now. I'm guessing auto frame skip must have fixed it. We don't have any sound though, so that's one of the trade-offs. We'll leave PPSSP here for now, close out of it. We'll try MS-DOS. This wasn't possible on stock EmuLec. We just got Cystal Caves 1 here to try. We'll do episode 1. And yeah, so far it seems fine. No lag spikes. This is a very easy to run game though, it's very old. We'll go into an actual level just to make sure. Yes, Cystal Caves 1 seems fine. That is pretty cool. I am a fan of DOS games, so not having the ability to emulate DOS was a bit of a deal breaker for me on stock Emulec. We'll quit out. I think we'll try some of our ports. I've copied 2 over, RevoltGL, which is a bit harder to run, and VanillaRA, which is a lot easier to run. We'll start with the easier to run one, VanillaRA. It says starting game, it's a good sign. And we're in. See if the joystick works. It does. Occasionally on these clones, the joysticks are mapped slightly incorrectly, or they're swapped around, but this one seems fine. We'll go new game, go default. Yeah, this seems perfectly fine. So the Red Alert 1 port is fine. We'll quit out of this and we'll try RevoltGL, which is a bit harder to run. We've got the title screen, that's good. A little bit of lag loading the main menu. I'm wondering if it's running out of RAM. So you can see it is a bit of a slideshow. It might have frozen, not sure. Nothing seems to be doing anything. We'll give it a second just in case it comes good. And it did crash. I'm guessing there's just not enough RAM to run it. That is one of the huge issues with having a tiny amount of RAM on these clones. Although most stock systems are fine, so the ones that are included with Emulec, you aren't going to be able to run any of the more demanding ports. So almost definitely no GTA 3. One of the main benefits of running Arkos4Clones is the awesome Wi-Fi support. We'll zoom back out, and we'll see if we can get Wi-Fi working on it. I'll just connect my wireless adapter to the OTG port. There we go. Go to options, go down to Wi-Fi, and hopefully it's detected. Go to connect to Wi-Fi, and there's our access point container. Awesome. We'll connect to it just to make sure everything works. So it says it's connected. We'll quit out. We'll go up to network info just to make sure. So we've got an IP, 106, awesome. So our wireless adapter does work on the clone now. I do still want to try USB tethering to my phone. So I might yank out the wireless adapter and I'll go connect my phone. So I've connected my phone. It has detected the handheld since our options are no longer grayed out. We'll enable USB tethering. Whoops, I accidentally did Bluetooth tethering. USB tethering. We'll give it a second and we'll open up network info. Yep, we do have a different IP address, so tethering is working. That is really awesome. So now we can use Portmaster to download and add ports. Although as mentioned, with only 400 meg of RAM, we're not going to be able to run most of them. Overall, I definitely prefer ArcOS over stock Emulec, although for some reason the PSP game we tested wasn't running quite as well as it was on stock. I'm pretty sure it is just because the stock Emulec has been tweaked slightly. MS-DOS games work fine, which is good. Again, this wasn't possible on stock Emulec, and we were able to run the Red Alert port, but not our Revolt port. I guess the biggest issue is the lack of RAM. USB Wi-Fi and USB tethering support were great, as expected, so we can at least now get a little handheld online if we want to. This will be good for downloading ports or scraping images. After finding out this only has 400 meg of RAM, I definitely wouldn't recommend getting one, even if you see it for fairly cheap, unless all you want to use it for is low-end systems like NES, SNES, Game Boy, Game Boy Advanced. Anything more demanding, you're just going to have issues with. I mentioned it in my last video, but the D-pad is still pretty horrendous, even after around 5 hours of use. It hasn't softened up any, it is still really stiff and hard to press. I'm not sure if all Gaminja ANS11s use K36 panel 1, or if I just got lucky, but if yours uses a panel that isn't supported on the new ArcOS4Clones project, you will just have to use the older ArcOS K36S build. I think that'll do it for today. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.